Something weird is happening on social media. Penguins are taking over. Well, one penguin.
The mountains, some 70 kilometers away. But why?
Not all those who wander are lost.
In the era of viral TikToks and AI soup, a video from an almost 20-year-old documentary from 2007 is breaking the internet. It's called The Nihilist Penguin. The posts say every person, or at absolute minimum, every man, can relate to it. It's the next generation of, he's thinking about the Roman Empire. Captions like, if the penguin doesn't want to make you go follow your dreams, nothing will. It's being called everything from a psychological case study in collective burnout to existential questions of what it means to live, not just survive. Why is a small flightless bird wandering away from safety and society towards a death march into the Antarctic mountains to face certain death resonating with so many people? Is the penguin actually a nihilist emblem, or an unexpected reminder that deep down, we all know we're meant for something more? Join me as we unravel this and much more and enter the Codex Legendarium. I'm Shelby Melanson. You've seen the memes, or maybe you're just wondering what the heck everyone's talking about. When I first saw the penguin, I was confused, but not because of his decision to wander off into the wilderness, but by how it was being interpreted by the internet. Articles are calling it the Nihilist Penguin or the Lonely Penguin, but is that really the message here? Rewind to September 2007. A nature documentary called Encounters at the End of the World screened at the Telluride Film Festival and the Toronto Film Festival a week later. It hit the silver screen in the UK in 2009, raking in a modest $1.2 million at the box office, but getting overwhelmingly positive reviews. The plot follows the journey of two filmmakers as they travel through Antarctica, explore seldom-seen locations, and explore what it's really like to live in such a beautiful, brutal, and unique landscape. It's a surprisingly deep dive into the human psyche, too. And it's no wonder, especially once you hit around 3/4 of the way through the runtime. That's when, during an interview with penguin scientist David Ainley, he's asked a curious question. Quote, is there such a thing as insanity among penguins? Could they just go crazy because they've had enough of their colony? The answer? Quote, they do get disoriented. They end up in places they shouldn't be, a long way from the ocean. It cuts to a group of penguins headed toward the ocean to catch their next meal, all except for one. The film describes him as deranged, and it's easy to see why. What about this deranged penguin is inspiring a social media tsunami almost 20 years later? Why is his seemingly aimless journey into the unknown resonating with us like this? We need to set the stage here. Society, the internet, and our entire collective consciousness are very different places now than they were 20 years ago. The shared beliefs, values, and norms that define what's accepted and expected in society have changed a lot. Life is faster, high pressure, and in a lot of ways, more hopeless. So, what happened? We can all agree that 2020 marked a turning point where these changes hit a breakneck pace. Pandemic lockdowns shook the world, where one message prevailed. The outside world is dangerous. Stay inside. And if you have to go outside, wear a mask. Health directives aside, we all experience the unsettling eeriness of never seeing others' faces or facial expressions anymore, and the strange social disconnect that it caused. More than that, the pandemic made us anxious and afraid of each other and the outside world. It also kept an entire generation of young people trapped inside during their formative years. And that time in isolation did a number on brain development. 70% of teachers reported mass behavioral problems in students that haven't gone away since 2020. In adults, studies, anecdotes, and chat rooms alike all say we also forgot how to talk to each other. A couple of years later, ChatGPT exploded overnight. Now, one of the top questions asked in virtually every corner of the internet is this AI? Literally half the internet is AI slop now. And dead internet theory, anyone? I digress. AI is meant to make life easier, which in theory should make us happier. But it's also making us use our brains less. And studies show that that level of instant gratification actually makes us super unhappy. It's the same reason research shows the challenging nature of video games in the 90s or early 2000s taught kids resilience and problem solving compared to what we're getting today. As all that's going on, hustle culture and the never-ending grind are on the rise too. 1 in 4 Americans have a side hustle, with that number skyrocketing to almost half for Gen Z. And over 75% of all of them say they're burned out. But one glance at social media constantly reminds us that if you're not on and grinding 24/7, you're doing it wrong. On the backdrop of all of that, enter the Nihilist Penguin. By definition, nihilism is the belief that life and human existence is meaningless and has no purpose. Ultimate knowledge can't be truly obtained or communicated, nothing is permanent, morality, values, and societal structure are baseless. Basically, nothing matters. At best, calling the Penguin a joyful nihilist is still all of that stuff, but just not being super depressed about it, which is a little contradictory in my personal opinion, considering tons of cultures, not to mention science, all agree that having purpose is a major depression buster and can add years, literally years, to your life. Anyway, a penguin randomly deciding to walk into the cold, away from his colony and source of food, could certainly be interpreted as nihilism. A solitary march toward oblivion becomes a rebellion, a symbol of quiet quitting, of walking away from society's expectations, routine, fakeness, grind, and hustle. But this is where I think that nickname got it wrong, though a handful of memes got it right. More on that in a second. The penguin isn't a nihilist, and psychology, plus hundreds if not thousands of years of history and storytelling can show us why. Let's start with psychology. But first, if you're enjoying this episode and you're into mysteries, culture, storytelling, mythology, and science, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe for much more. Codex is a young channel still, and telling YouTube that you like what you're seeing really helps get the word out. Okay, so Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung wrote about something called archetypes back in a 1919 essay called Instinct and the Unconscious. They're designed to help define human character through its strengths, weaknesses, and motivations. This actually goes all the way back to Plato and ancient Greece, but later, others have developed the archetype chart further. Here's how it works. There are 4 cardinal orientations, like on a compass. Each one represents the core goal that a personality archetype is trying to achieve: to leave a mark on the world, to connect with others, to provide structure or order to the world, or the yearning for paradise and freedom. Each of those 4 directions is then split into 3 core motivations: ego, self, or soul. Together, they create 12 distinct archetypes. And at the intersection of yearning for freedom and soul motivation is the wanderer or the explorer archetype. It's a character driven by an inner restlessness, a need for freedom, to escape conformity, embrace uncertainty, and rather than exploring for the sake of a goal at the end of the journey, this type finds purpose in the journey itself. Though it's often a lonely quest, it's a spiritual one, driven by the desire to grow without the imposition of having others or the world tell you what you should become. Transfer over to literature and basically every other mode of storytelling as well. Think the outlaw, the rebel, the knight, the cowboy, the nomad. Maybe the best example, from books anyway, is Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, the wandering, reluctant hero with zero royal ambitions at the start of the trilogy. Gandalf comes in as a close second, literally known as the Grey Wanderer, mysteriously coming and going as was needed for any given quest, and visiting his many stopping places as a guest, but with no permanent home in Middle-earth. In video games, the type shows up in Geralt from the Witcher series, the lone wolf, magic-wielding monster hunter who travels the continent responding to help wanted, or rather, Witcher-needed posters. Then you have free spirit treasure hunter Nathan Drake from Uncharted and his crazy parkour skills. On the silver screen, it's characters like Marvel's vigilante anti-hero, the Punisher, military police officer Jack Reacher, the Doctor, aka the last of the Time Lords from Doctor Who, and Star Wars' favorite bounty hunter, the Mandalorian. These characters got even more attention when the Sigma personality type got really big in pop culture a couple of years ago, and memes. The mysterious lone wolf, usually a guy who is hyper-independent, operates totally outside traditional social structure and hierarchy. Basically an alpha, but one that chooses freedom over power and status. All of that aside, most of these stories have been inspired by much, much older ones. We're talking biblical kind of old. Cain, the firstborn son of Adam and Eve, was cursed by God for killing his younger brother Abel out of jealousy. As punishment, he was forced to wander the earth. Likewise, the eternal wandering Jew was cursed to walk the earth as the doomed sinner, after taunting Jesus on the way to his crucifixion. And speaking of, even Jesus himself wandered the desert for 40 days, during which time he was tempted by the devil. Why are these characters and figures so memorable to us? And why do we idolize them? We commend them for doing what most of us cannot, for their bravery, their courage, and lack of dependence on everything around them. They pave their own way in the world, valiantly forging ahead no matter what's thrown at them, and they're undeterred by hardship or challenges. The same idea is reflected in a famous Japanese idiom, shikitin haki, literally translated as fall down 7 times, get up 8. In Chinese, it's changfang polang, or ride the wind and break the waves. In French, you'd say never lower the arms. As for English, phrases like don't throw in the towel, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, and most simply, never give up. But if you ask me, there's one idiom in this to rule them all, plus ultra, Latin for further beyond. It comes from the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, but the best part is that it was adapted from non plus ultra, or nothing further beyond. This was actually an ancient warning inscribed on the Pillars of Hercules at the Strait of Gibraltar, aka the edge of the world at the time. But think about how amazing this is. The idea of there is something beyond came out of the idea that there is nothing beyond, meaning that from hopelessness, hope appeared. It's the principle that led ancient explorers to sail around the world, braving the treacherous ocean without ever knowing if there was even anything to find on the other end. But they believed they were destined for greatness and being guided by God. Old school American ingenuity carried over the same idea. When asked by a reporter about his failures at creating the electric light, Thomas Edison was famously quoted as saying, "I have not failed 700 times. I've succeeded in proving 700 ways how not to build a light bulb." Though apparently it actually took him 2,447 tries to actually make it work. All of that brings us back to the not-so-nihilist penguin. Remember I said earlier that despite the name, a lot of the memes got this part right? A huge majority of them don't focus on the idea of existential dread or nihilism. Instead, they paint the penguin as an inspiration to go chase your dreams, walk away from what the rest of the world is forcing on you, decide to follow your own path, and find out what's best for you on your own. Getting back to that original question, why does the penguin resonate with us so much? I think you can basically boil it down to 3 main parts. The first is that a lot of us are having a hard time living in a world polluted with AI soup, plagued by lack of meaningful social connection, and where burnout is idolized. Second, it's a reminder that maybe, just maybe, we're meant for something more than this. That it's okay to step out on your own and find your own path. That a lot of us, probably way more than we thought, all have the same wish to do that. And third, this little penguin is giving us hope. Science, philosophy, and spirituality alike have long said that hope is a powerful motivator. Heck, some really cool research from the University of Missouri last year described it as, quote, the key to a meaningful life, and said that experiencing life as meaningful is crucial for just about every good thing you can imagine in a person's life. This small, flightless bird, with basically no natural defenses outside running or swimming away, in other words, the last animal in the world you would expect to embody freedom and bravery and daring and adventure, the fact that even he might have a greater destiny is inspiring. It's a reminder to give ourselves permission to step out on a limb once in a while, be brave, or make bold decisions that might be scary or risky, but could be massively rewarding. The penguin represents the act of choosing to believe that when you wander into the unknown, there's something out there worth finding, even if you can't see it. What do you think? Is the lonely penguin a sign of the times? Is he a true nihilist? Or is he telling us to chase our dreams? How do you think internet memes play into how we communicate our culture in the modern era? I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments, and if you have an idea for something you'd like to see a future episode on, let me know. And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive into mysteries, myths, culture, and science, please take a second to like and share this video. And if you want to see more, subscribe. It really, really helps get the word out there. Until next time, stay curious. Thank you.